Coming to you live from his kitchen table, bringing you things that you've probably seen before. You all know him. You all love him. Introducing our anchor, J-Dub. Brought to you by J-Dub Reacts. Yo, what is really going on YouTube? It's your boy J-Dub back on your screen again. I got some rabbit holes to go down with you, starting with Epstein's Island. Let's get right into it.
Granny always said, watch the company that you keep. Make sure y'all follow me because I have seen what allegedly that list is, and I'm gonna bring it to y'all the minute it officially drops in less than 2 weeks. The rumored names on there is crazy, but that's not even the craziest part, y'all. This how you know how shady. They have already 3 names. It's supposed to be 150 names released. That's what the judge ordered. Of this all this sick stuff people was doing. But 3 of the names have already been resealed in a way. Like, for some reason, the judge is not going to release 3 of the names because they paid, I don't know if they paid money, but they said that they begged the judge to not release it. Which, if you can just beg to not have your name released, I don't know what good that list is. Make sure y'all follow me. I don't like it. I'm watching this like a hawk, but the names are gonna surprise you.
Through weeks of anticipation, the names of former associates, employees, friends, and victims of the late Jeffrey Epstein have finally been released. These names were sealed from a lawsuit filed by Virginia Goff, an alleged traffic victim, against Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's former girlfriend. Now Maxwell, who is 61 years old, is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence after being convicted in December for her involvement in helping Epstein recruit and as a very, very young woman. Many of the names that appear in these documents released on Wednesday are not accused of any wrongdoing, and some may have even been mentioned in previous legal proceedings or news accounts. So, hold on, these documents are not an Epstein client list, okay? Let's make that clear. But let's get into these names, shall we? I want to know if any of these names surprised you as much as they surprised me. Now, I gotta tell you, when I saw Naomi Campbell, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Let's see. I know Christine Maxwell, Naomi Campbell, Bill Clinton, of course, David Copperfield, Cameron Diaz, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jeffrey Epstein is 29 on this list. Stephen Hawking. Well, that's about all I know.
And Cameron Diaz on the list. I was a little bit shooked. I mean, we've seen these celebrities in the spotlight, but who would have thought that they'd be mentioned in this court case document? But remember, these names are not Epstein's client list. They are just individuals who were mentioned in the court case document. So let's keep that in mind as we continue to follow the story.
Prince Andrew and Virginia Giuffre have agreed to settle out of court in the sexual abuse lawsuit filed against him. Here's a timeline of the allegations against the disgraced prince. In August 2019, unsealed court documents from 2015 revealed allegations that Jeffrey Epstein forced Virginia Giuffre to have sex with Prince Andrew in 2001 when she was just 17. Buckingham Palace denied Prince Andrew's alleged involvement.
I was recruited at a very young age from Mar-a-Lago and entrapped in a world that I didn't understand.
That fall, Prince Andrew stepped down from public duties. In a BBC interview, though, he disputed the claims made against him by Giuffre.
He denies that it ever happened, and he's going to keep denying that it ever happened. But he knows the truth, and I know the truth.
2 years later, Virginia Giuffre announced a lawsuit against Prince Andrew over the alleged sexual abuse. Prince Andrew tried to get a U.S. judge to dismiss the lawsuit, but in January 2022, the judge rejected his request. In January 2022, the Queen barred Prince Andrew from using HRH titles and removed him from his charity and military roles, which brings us to the most recent development, a settlement. Prince Andrew and Giuffre agreed to an undisclosed sum according to court docs, and Prince Andrew intends to make a substantial donation to Miss Giuffre's charity in support of victims' rights.
Oprah did not, as far as any evidence is concerned, visit Epstein's Island.
Where you might have gotten that is that.
So, how do you settle out of court for something like that? I thought that was unheard of. I mean, I guess if you're rich, things are different for you, but I thought that was unheard of. You can't settle out of court for SA.
That Oprah's co-founder at Oxygen was all over his flight logs.
But you know who did?
Stephen Hawking. On business, but still, that's
For the
real.
record, there's no evidence and nobody believes that Stephen Hawking knew anything about what was going on. Leave Stephen Hawking out of it. Okay, but I got deeper into this rabbit hole when I realized that you could actually look up people in Epstein's little black book, which is just his contacts.
All of it was made publicly available during the trial, and you'll never guess what name came up.
Ready? The Queen! Isn't that crazy?
I thought I knew the case pretty well, but I didn't know that. They were friends. These two were friends.
Even scarier. This is a picture of Naomi on her birthday. This over, how do I get it? How do I get it? Yes. This is Ghislaine, and this is Virginia. Do you remember Virginia? Virginia Guffreys is the one from this infamous picture with Prince Andrew. Now, as to whether Naomi knows anything, I don't believe that she has any knowledge. However, Virginia said, you saw me at your parties, you saw me in Epstein's homes, you saw me on the plane, you saw me get my haircut, you saw me in the streets, you watched me be abused, you saw me with pictures of Naomi. Here's the thing. Anyone can put anyone in their address book, but you know who was actually in the flight logs?
I'm making a part 2.
A deep dive back into Epstein's little black book, part 3. So we talked about how this famous New York City restaurateur's wife left him for her twin's ex-husband. Not even that relevant to the story, I'm just obsessed with it. Anyways,
one of Serafina's original restaurant locations was very close to Epstein's townhouse, and we know that he was nothing if not a creature of habit. Also, Serafina's co-founders were both modelizers who ran in the same circles as several of the people in Epstein's little black book, like Alec Baldwin or Ivana Trump.
next, the Cipriani family, 4 generations of spicy Italian men.
Cipriani, as you know, is an international chain of hotels and restaurants. The eldest member of the family is credited with creating both Carpaccio and the Bellini.
The name has a lot of cachet all over the world. And if you think about the most famous picture of Epstein and Maxwell together, think about it, I bet that it's this one. And it was taken at Cipriani Wall Street downtown, which is known for doing a lot of events and galas, so very on brand for them. Now, where does this guy come into it?
Follow along for all that and more on Epstein Part 4, Rhyme Unintentional.
Go for it.
Fascinating, and we're not done with Jeffrey Epstein. I can tell you that for a fact. Can't tell you how I know, but I can tell you for a fact we're going to hear a lot more about Jeffrey Epstein in the coming year, and you may be even hearing from him directly. More on that.
What? Come again?
All together, think about it, I bet that it's this one. And it was taken at Cipriani Wall Street downtown, which is known for doing a lot of events and galas, so very on brand for them. Now, where does this guy come into it?
Follow along for all that and more on Epstein Part 4, Rhyme Unintentional.
Go for it.
Fascinating, and we're not done with Jeffrey Epstein. I can tell you that for a fact. Can't tell you how I know, but I can tell you for a fact we're going to hear a lot more about Jeffrey Epstein in the coming year, and you may be even hearing from him directly. More on that as I'm allowed to tell
What
you.
is she like?
That didn't sound like an accident. She slowed down and everything. That didn't sound like it was accidentally said or nothing like that. That sounded intentional. Let's get back into it.
Yo, can you, and me and Rob just talked about this before we started. Can you imagine, Adam, out of nowhere, Epstein shows up, completely, like, protected by, security and everybody. He's like, I got a story to tell. And he has all these tapes and everything, because his brother hiding his face. I'm kind of on the fence, because Rob showed me earlier that he has ties with Adam Schiff, he has ties with Maxine Waters. I don't really trust the brother. He's not showing his face. Who knows? He's saying, my brother's not good. By the way, the way that the body was handled, Epstein's body, they took off his clothes, they put on a gown. There's so many mistakes. Besides the cameras, besides the guards, it's obviously some really, really sketchy stuff that happened with his brother, Pat. But I want to ask you guys a question, and a real genuine, honest question, because they mentioned Clinton's the main name, besides Alan Dershowitz and Stephen Hawking, which I don't even know how that could have happened where people were having sex with.
So I got another theory for you guys.
So, I mean, it keeps getting brought up. What do you think about Stephen Hawking? Like, your opinion. I'm pretty sure it's that he didn't do anything because he couldn't. But what's your opinion?
This one involves the Grand Canyon. So, not gonna lie, I've been out of school for probably 13 years now, so I don't know what they teach in school, but whenever I was in school, I was taught that the Colorado River was what carved out the Grand Canyon. Yes, one river carved out this whole canyon. A river carved out the whole canyon. Now, that's what I was taught. Don't know if that's still being taught in schools or not, but that's the narrative that I was presented with. Now, in school, I didn't have a reason to not believe it, but I still was kind of like, I don't see that happening. So, during my thought process, I began to think the other day, why is it that there's only one Grand Canyon? Like, there's only one canyon to the size and capacity that the Grand Canyon that we know of, that's been carved out by a river. There's thousands and thousands of rivers all throughout the United States and even different continents and different parts of the world, right? I mean, you have the Amazon River, the Nile. I mean, in the States, you have the Mississippi, the Missouri, the Arkansas, all these different vast rivers, but yet there's only been one canyon that's carved out. Now, my thought process would be, if there's all these different rivers and they've been here the same length of time, wouldn't eventually we would have another Grand Canyon? Doesn't make a lot of sense. So then it got me thinking, you know what it kind of looks like? It looks like a rock quarry. I mean, not to that size, but it kind of looks like stuff was carved out rather than a river carved it. So then that led down another rabbit hole, and then I came across this interesting find. This is in the Grand Canyon. Those are doorways. What do they go to?
I'm just saying, real quick, look how beautiful that is. I ain't never been, but I'd love to go.
Where are they from? Who put them there? Who built them? Why are they there? Then I came across this. Pyramids in the Grand Canyon. What? I think that the Grand Canyon is, one, a lot different than what we've been told, and two, I think it was formed. I mean, look at these Egyptian artifacts and pyramids that have been found. Take a second, pause, read some of these articles. But guys, there's been sphinxes, there's been mummies, there's been all kinds of different things found inside the Grand Canyon. So what are they really hiding? And why are there parts of the Grand Canyon that are off-site? Like, you can literally just Google this. There is so much information on stuff that they're finding. There's even, Hindu stuff. There's all kinds of different artifacts that they're finding in the Grand Canyon. What's going on? Guys, I think it's safe to say there was no river that carved out the Grand Canyon, and they're hiding a lot more than what they're telling us.
If you think the Grand Canyon was formed over millions of years, this may make you think again. Let me introduce you to Burlingame Canyon near Walla Walla, Washington. This ditch was naturally
near Walla Walla, Washington? I'd like to write that on the envelope. or envelope. Hey, comment below. How do you pronounce it? Envelope, envelope.
10 feet deep and about 6 feet wide, and often had no water in it. But in March of 1926, after windstorms blocked the canals in the Gardenia farming district, water had to be diverted into this ditch while the canal was under construction. What happened was the Burlingame Canyon was created in 6 days. As of today, the canyon is 1,500 feet long and 120 feet deep. This canyon proves that you don't need millions and millions of years for erosion to take place. All you need is mass amounts of water or some type of natural catastrophe to take place, such as what is told to us through the Great Flood of Noah, as well as every other culture around the world with legends of a great flood.
If you didn't know, the Grand Canyon was actually used to mine gold.
I did know that.
What's interesting is that the Grand Canyon had so much gold, it could have crashed the
Still
entire
does to
gold
this day.
market. And did you know that 90% of the caves in the Grand Canyon are unexplored by the public and are protected by the U.S. military? Now, when I tell you why, it's going to get a little interesting. This guy, he was exploring this one cave. He found ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, other types of artifacts, mummies.
What?
Now they discredit this guy, and then some other credible guy came in and found the same thing. Below the surface, people believe this is where the lost city of gold was actually at. Every president has tried to mine gold at the canyon.
So if you don't know what the lost city of gold he's talking about, go look up the lost city of El Dorado. I believe it is. And usually I'll go look it up for you. I didn't think about it until right now. I might put it in there when I'm editing.
The legendary Lost City of Gold was the home to an ancient civilization that had thrived. They were so wealthy that the king would perform a sacred ritual by covering himself in gold dust and then diving into a sacred lake, washing away the gold as an offering to the gods. Rumors of a place where gold was common as dirt sparked interest among the Spanish conquistadores in the 16th century. So began the feverish hunt. Explorers like Francisco Orellana and Gonzalo Pizarro ventured deep into the Amazon, facing unimaginable hardships, all to find the city of unimaginable riches. But El Dorado was always just out of reach, a mirage that lured many to their doom. Today, El Dorado remains a symbol of unattainable wealth, a dream that drove many to the edge of madness, a reminder of the dangers of greed and obsession. Is El Dorado still out there?
Ever hear about the Grand Canyon theory?
Never, no. That
Such a-
somebody jumped it?
Jumped it? What are you talking about?
Then jumped the whole
No. Alright, so check this out. So, the Grand Canyon, one of the world's wonders. There's a theory that the Grand Canyon holds something that none of us knew was there. So back in the 1850s, right? The Grand Canyon was used to mine gold.
Okay.
Did you know that? Now, the Grand Canyon, when people started mining it, the gold index crashed because they found so much gold there. Now, what happened was the government and the military, they closed it off and they made it a sanctuary so that nobody can just go there and then take whatever they want. But there was this one guy, his name was Seth Tanner, and he was an explorer. He explored this one cave in the Grand Canyon, and he claims what he saw was ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics in one of the caves.
What did it say?
Now, the theory is that the Grand Canyon, it actually holds the lost city of El Dorado.
What?
Like, you know, the lost gold city of El Dorado.
Yeah, the whole city.
The whole city. So if you think about it, it's never found. That ancient tale that all of the natives talk about, the lost city, the gold city, is never found. Now the theory is that it's literally in the Grand Canyon, deep in these caves. And the reason the government and the world is trying to keep it a secret is because it would crash the gold price. Like, gold would be useless if they find that much gold. Just think about it, supply and demand, right? If they find a huge abundance of gold, nobody's gonna care about it.
Do you think there's still people living there right now, still protecting
Still living there?
Still
I don't think
protecting the gold.
Who knows? Who knows? Because who knows if it's like livable?
Yeah.
If it's livable or if it's just like just ruins.
No, but I mean, if it's
but was denied. I believe that the U.S. military found something down there. Could be the lost city of gold, could not be. But they found something. To keep watch of it means that there's something valuable there. It will make sense that if the Grand Canyon had so much gold, it would not be as valuable, that something like that could be there.
We must talk about this ASAP. There's been a massive amount of conspiracy talk about the Grand Canyon being the actual path to Africa. And what's crazy is, I just took a trip to Las Vegas. Y'all see, I haven't even been on the app. When we flew over the Grand Canyon, I had that same exact thought. Then I got on TikTok and I seen this. These might be the... First you had Pangea. Now if you zoom in on the map, you see the United States, right? And then you see Africa right next to it. North America, Africa. This goes right along with me and my brother's Ronspiracy's theory that all the Area 51s across the globe were connected in Pangea, and when we separated, those portals allow everything to connect between us and the Earth and dimensional travel. Like the Grand Canyon, pyramids in Egypt, Stonehenge,
So about Pangea, I heard a theory that, and it makes sense to me, that all of our languages started, and they say that humans didn't live on Pangea, but wouldn't it make sense that all of our languages started from one language on Pangea, and then when they spread apart, they created their own version of the language, and that's why all of our languages match up with each other. That's why we can understand things that we're talking about, and we can learn other languages because we can match each other's languages together. Why do you think that is? We can't match an animal's language and figure that out. We can figure out signs that they use and different body languages, but we can't figure out actual language of the animals. But we can figure out the language of people in Spain and people in China, people in Japan, you know? Just something to think about.
In all these places with these unique locations and meanings, it's looking like the Grand Canyon just may be part of that. Conspiracy starts to get really interesting. So the Grand Canyon has 6 no-fly zones. And also you have parts of the canyon which you can't explore without executive supervision. I think this may be because they're hiding ancient history. 1909, G.E. Kincaid went on a grand exploration through the Colorado River, where he came across and discovered caves such as the one behind me. They're not natural caves, they were hard-carved caves. Kincaid said that this cave alone contained mummies, hieroglyphic writings all throughout the caves, war weapons, and copper instruments that were sharp as steel. Craziest thing about it is that he said these caves could hold up to 50,000 people. So you can only imagine how advanced this cave actually was, especially for the time period he discovered it in 1909. But hey, it just might be a coincidence or just a conspiracy or something. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments about the Grand Canyon.
The original, the copy, the original, right there in the Grand Canyon.
Look, before anybody say anything about my North Carolina outfit, it match, okay? I don't follow football. I don't follow sports. You know what I'm saying? If it has a conspiracy behind it, I'll follow it. But, you know, it just matched. So.
USA, America, Turtle Island. That's the original right up there in the Grand Canyon. And that's why certain parts of the Grand Canyon are off limits. They don't want us knowing the truth. You've been lied to.
Yo, that's all I got for you today. If you ain't done it yet, like and subscribe. It only takes 1 click, 2 click, and that's it. It's completely free. Stay in tune. I got another one for you soon. This has been another one brought to you by J-Dub Reacts Entertainments.